Good morning. Welcome to our winter curriculum instruction meeting. We are also streaming live on our YouTube channel. So if you got a buddy that's like, I've lost the link, because it happens, you can just go to our YouTube channel and watch it live. I'll ask some of my friends to drop those links in the chat, as well as the link to the slides. Do you find it helpful to get the slides ahead of time? Have you appreciated getting to kind of go through that? I'm seeing some head nods. It's funny because once we started doing that, I send the slides out and then I'm like counting, okay, 10, 9, and here come the questions. I love that you instantly start looking at those slides and sharing them with your buddies. We hope you find that helpful. And I'll be honest, throughout the couple weeks that we're doing these CNI meetings, we adjust. And that's why we've kept these in a Google format and a draft format, because we get really, really good questions. So usually the last one is the best one, because we have already fielded so many questions and made adjustments to the slides. Please know you can use these slides any way that is helpful to you as you're turning this around with your schools. Before I pass the virtual baton over, I just want to introduce myself in case I am new to you. I am Melissa Shields. I'm the Assistant State Superintendent. I attended these curriculum instruction meetings many years myself as a curriculum director, and I would often leave completely overwhelmed. It's a lot of information, and so what we've really tried to do is to chunk it in a way that is that you can digest, that you can take the slides with you. We've really tried to give you a lot of content, so just know that there are some slides that we've hidden that we won't get to, but it's just there for you to have if you need some more information. This is just our tentative timeline. When I would come to these CNI meetings, often I'd be like, oh, I wished I had brought my buddy, because they're talking about career tech. I wish I had brought my friend because they're talking about special education. So I can't say we'll actually stick to this, but generally we've been able to stick to a timeline. So if you've got a buddy that you would like to pop in for a specific section, this might be the time to do that. These are also hyperlinks. So if you've got the link to the slides, you can just click on those specific hyperlinks to go to those sections. If you could, in the chat, go ahead and tell us who you are and that you're here. We'll count this as our sign-in sheet today. Now, I shared this, I see lots of chat, and I'm going to ask my team, please interrupt me if there's a question. They're showing if there's a question that comes up that I might have missed. But we wanted to share this again. We shared this back in the fall, but we've got some more good stuff to share. Back in the fall during our CNI meeting, we talked about we had some really exciting NAEP data. And of those, that Alabama was the only state where fourth graders improved in NAEP math performance. We were the only state in the country that improved in both reading and math, which is incredible. And every time I'm in front of teachers, every time I'm in front of people, I'm like, do you know this? And more importantly, do your teachers, do your parents, do your kids know this? This is such exciting data, and we want to know, okay, what, because good leaders don't just ask when things go wrong. We ask when things go right, what did we do and how can we keep doing it? And so I'm kind of like pivoting that back to you. What have we been doing that made Alabama be the only state in the country that grew in reading and math? I did put some hyperlinks so that you can click on for some more information. We are among the top in the country for learning gains among Black and Hispanic students. I was in another meeting not too long ago, and actually this is a screenshot from that meeting. Do your teachers, do your families know that Alabama increased from 52nd to 40th in math? And from 49th to 39th in reading? Can I get like some applauses? That is incredible. You did that. Your teachers did that. Your kids did that. And anything that we can do to put out the positivity and to say to our teachers, look what you did. Look what you did, and how can we continue that momentum? More, I'm just going to give you all kinds of good stuff. So please take these slides and share them, tweet them, any way that you feel is appropriate. This is related to our multilingual students in terms of proficiency. Do you see that last piece? Led by Alabama, experienced a positive change in the percentage of EL scoring at or above proficient. Do you see this red line right here? That is the average for the nation. Do you see us up here? Incredible. Thank you to our multilingual teachers. Thank you for our core teachers. Thank you to our multilingual students, our families, our communities. This is just incredible. Thank you. Also, this is some new data related to chronic absence. We're looking at attendance here that Alabama was tied for the smallest slide in the country. Now I'm looking at your faces over here, Sean. Sean's beside me. I know you're like, how is that? Because you're probably saying our chronic absence is terrible. Our attendance is terrible. Does that tell you something about the rest of the country? So once again, I would like to think that there is a correlation with our achievement and our students attending school, because we know kids can't learn if they are not there. So to see that we were tied for the smallest slide in the country is really exciting. This is a brand new report. I think we sent this out. I know it's on our OSL running updates as well. Dr. Mackey shared this in his Midweek Matters, I think last week. But this is some newer data that Alabama is the only state in the country where average student achievement exceeds pre-pandemic levels in math. This is brand new, last week. And I love this. This is a direct quote. As one would have hoped, the higher poverty districts in Alabama, those that had lost the most ground during the pandemic, led the recovery. Okay, I'm looking at your faces again. Whatever it is you're doing, I'm looking at you over here, but whatever it is you're doing, keep doing it. This is amazing. And this is a research study that we are performing our own action research. We want to know what is it we're doing right and how we can continue serving those schools that have the most to gain. And those schools, I was working with the superintendent not long ago, and he said, Dr. Shields, we're here, we're number 2, 3 in the state, but we want to be the best. We want to be the best in the country. We are always in a space of school improvement. Before I pass it over to Sean, I wanted to share with you a little bit about our prep program. Let me see your faces again. How many of you are familiar with our program that we did in the fall for emergency certificate teachers? Can I see? And we'll flip the chat here. I'm looking and put this over here. Okay, I see some hands. So I mentioned this very briefly in our fall CNI meeting, and we were just kind of getting started. And so I'm able to tell you a whole lot more about it now. So what we did, I did not realize we had thousands of emergency certificate teachers in our state. I really had a very lofty goal of we wanted to all come together and provide support to the emergency certificate teachers in your schools to say how to be a teacher, like Harry Wong the heck out of them. And we really wanted to work with teachers, these emergency certificate teachers who had not had any college experience, any kind of experience at all. I just realized I got some folks in the waiting room. Let me let them in. Okay. No, you're good. You're good. I'm letting folks in. Hang on one second. I don't want anybody behind. Hey, Bianca, because I see you, I'm going to make you a co-host real quick. Will you help me let people in? I don't want someone waiting on me. Okay. And for those of you just coming in, I just saw you're waiting in the waiting room, so I'm going to let everybody pop back in. So as I'm sharing the screen, and welcome to those I just let in. Sorry, it took me a minute. I got to talking and just didn't see you hanging out there. So what we did is we pulled together around 300, I think it was 280 teachers across the state. When I realized we had thousands of emergency certificate teachers in the state, I realized that that would be hard to do training for that many. So we reached out to districts that had 20% or more emergency certificate teachers and said, if you give us your emergency certificate teachers for 12 weeks, we want to build a community for them to just let them know these are the things that brand new teachers need. And the requirement was you can't have taken any sort of teacher prep. We wanted those that have come straight from business. It's really funny. I was sharing in some of the other CNI meetings. I think we had about 4 bartenders, about 20 police officers, correction officers, a lot of HR people. It was really interesting to see the dynamic of the folks that had come into teaching, a number of dog groomers. It was fascinating. And so what we did is we met every Wednesday night for 12 weeks. And I wanted you to know, because I started getting some messages from some of you who were a little salty because you're like, I want my emergency certificate teachers in it. And I did too. But what we were able to do so that we could provide coverage for all of your emergency certificate teachers, all of your long-term subs, and even your new teachers is we have put, I'm just going to go ahead and click on this hyperlink so you can see it. And Christy, you should have co-host now. Make sure you don't have anybody waiting in the waiting room. So if you click on that link, it's going to take you to the entire curriculum. So what we did is we started with ethics. We felt that was a critical place to start with these emergency certificate teachers. Shanthia Washington and I went into this venture together. She did an excellent presentation on what are those things that teachers need to know and what are those kind of things to watch out for. Everything that we did for those 12 weeks, we have the slides and we have the recording. So I know many of you, and I'm looking in the chat, I've got the chat pulled up in a different screen. I have already started using these for onboarding with your new teachers, but they are here for you to use in part or in whole. If you're like me, I just like to steal. So like I would probably take these slides and put my stuff on it, make it, centric to my district or my school, and then use it in a way that is providing support to your new teachers, long-term subs, and so forth. I do want you to take a minute, though, to see some of the presenters. We had a lot of special guests, including Big Al came one night because this was during football season. But we wanted to make sure that those of us at the department were part of this process. We wanted to be teachers too. So Bonnie did an amazing session on Harry Wong's first days. I got to be her Vanna. And I think it's pretty incredible that the lead of literacy for our state was the person that led this work for our emergency certificate teachers. The only other thing I wanted to share with you in terms of this prep material is that after each session, we had an intersession activity. So if the assignment, or excuse me, the lesson was on classroom management, then we broke into elementary and secondary, then there was an assignment that they had to do that very next week. And that's what they submitted as part of their portfolio. So at the end of the 12 weeks, all of our prep participants really had this awesome portfolio of what an accomplished teacher should do. And you have access to that. So if you did not get to participate or have some teachers, I wanted you to know you have access to all of the videos, you have access to the slides, you have access to the assignments. We even had, I think, the 11th night was really popular because we broke into content specific. So I had Dr. Blake Busman, who leads social studies for the state, working with all of the social studies teachers. I had Andy Meadows working with all of the art teachers. So those presentations are there as well. So that's just enough about that. But I wanted to share, now that we are done, that you have access to this. We are very hopeful to do this again in the fall. I would say we had about 40 presenters for Alabama Teachers of the Year. Every single person did this for free. Every single presenter volunteered their time to support these emergency certificate teachers. It was just became our Wednesday night thing, and we absolutely loved it. I did put some great quotes that we got. You know, these are unsolicited, which always mean the most because, like, you didn't ask them for it. I think some of my favorite comments were I feel heard. I feel I feel like I have a voice. These are therapeutic to the madness of being a first-year emergency certified teacher. We just loved it. I would say we were all a little sad when it when it ended. We do have some new offices, some new areas of support with Office of Student Learning. Mr. William Jones and William, I know you're on here somewhere, so if you'll put like a thumbs up or hands up so they can see you. William is helping me with a lot of different projects. We got a lot of cool things. There he is, kind of shaking in OSL. And so I've asked Mr. Jones to one, be a thought partner to you as you're supporting some really innovative work, but also he is helping us coordinate some really cool things with the department, and particularly organizing some of the departments. We're looking at right now doing some really cool things with ATOT and connecting that with the with teacher mentoring. We are also, I don't know if Karen Rutledge Bell is online. I can't see all the faces, but we have also created a brand new space that is dedicated for all things K-12 extended learning. So we got some awesome stuff for Numeracy Act, Literacy Act that's very specific about how we do summer learning. But we wanted to be able to have an office that can coordinate. So we're talking about 21st century programs, your Jumpstart kindergarten programs, your ESL camps, your twilight evening schools for your high school students, your before school, your after school. An office that is dedicated to coming to sit at your table and say, all right, let's lay everything out on the table. You got this program, this program, this program. How can we braid funds in a way that makes the most sense? How can we use the human capital that you have to make the most sense? I'm looking to see some of my buddies. How many of you have been over secondary summer school? If you are a second, I see Laura. Yeah, How many of you feel like you have done an amazing job and I need to come watch how you've done it? Yeah, I'm looking. I'm speaking for myself here, but I'm just going to say that is an area as a secondary person. I was also charged with having summer school for our big kids. And every year I feel like I could have done a better job. And so with that in mind, we really just wanted to create structures, best practices, guidance for you as to how we can provide support to kids before, during, and after school. So more to come on that. Karen Rutledge Bell is leading that office. And we're hiring a specialist to come to support you and also be a liaison to these other offices that have extended learning. Last but not least, I just remembered as we were putting the slides together that the National Board Scholarship application just opened 2 weeks ago. So if you've got some teachers who are interested in applying, it is open through March 31st. It's a pretty straightforward application, but please share that. I'd love to just tap a teacher, someone that has the potential to be a nationally board certified teacher. Send him or her this link. Say, you've got this. Go ahead and apply. I'll write your letter of recommendation. I think that's a great way to get some of our really talented teachers an opportunity to become certified. With that, I think I'm going to pass the mic over here to Sean, and I'm going to let you stand where I am. And I'm just going to be monitoring chat since I missed all the great comments. But I'm going to give it to Sean, and I'll see you guys at the end of the session.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a great start to the spring semester. Just wanted to give you a few updates from instructional services and be able to answer some of the questions that you may have today. There are a few updates to the graduation requirements that I wanted to share with you. There will be official guidance coming from Dr. Mackey in the form of a superintendent memo, as well as additional guidance, but I wanted to highlight just a couple of these things to make you aware of them. The first being, of course, the legislature in the last legislative session passed a bill that would require students to earn a college and career readiness indicator a little earlier than what had previously been passed by the state board. So the state board took action back in December to align our administrative code with what the law says. And so we've been talking about it for at least since the summer, but wanted to really make sure everyone continues to tell students and school leaders and parents and families that it's our students are part of the graduating class of 2026. Who are part of or who are pursuing a general ed pathway as far as their high school diploma will be required to earn one of the college and career readiness indicators that you see here. I know you guys have done a great job of helping make sure and promote and communicate that, but wanted to put that again in front of you. Again, there'll be official guidance on coming out from Dr. Mackey's office, but I wanted to go ahead and preview some of that for you. You see the different college and career readiness indicators here that have already been prior to this, but again, wanted to put it in front of you and make sure that your school leaders, students, parents, families, everyone was aware of that college and career readiness indicator requirement for the class of 2026. Also, last legislative session, the legislature passed a bill that would require students to complete a course and an assessment of financial literacy before they graduated. It allowed the state board to actually write the rules. And so the state board took action back in December and identified that career preparedness is the course that meets this requirement. And so students, of course, who either take career preparedness as a whole or in split between Part A and Part B being the one that actually meets the requirement, that we'll use in order to meet this entire requirement that the legislature has now required because of that legislation. You'll notice that career preparedness is the identified course. The financial literacy examination must be administered to students in grade 9 beginning next school year. However, currently there is no passing score required in order for students to graduate. They will you'll upload those results into PowerSchool similar to the way we do the civics exam. And then, of course, there are exemptions that are allowed for students with disabilities, similar to the way the civics exam guidelines are. Stacey Royster assured the group in the last couple of weeks that that financial literacy exam assessment template would actually be in PowerSchool in one of the upcoming updates, so be looking for that. But I wanted to make sure and share this information with you guys so that you can kind of be looking at that. We already have the financial literacy examination is already created. We have it in every format known to man, from paper pencil to a Schoology format. And you can also import that into Google Classroom. And it's also translated in many different languages. And we can even translate it into additional languages if you guys need that. So wanted to make you aware of that. Couple of slides that are real wordy, but I want y'all to have this. Raise your hand if you're familiar with Quant Hub, and that if any of your schools are actually currently participating in that pilot with Quant Hub, which is focused on data literacy, but has worked really hard to create an entire pipeline of information and kind of coursework and kind of a curriculum where students are able to really explore what data analysis, data literacy looks like. Anyone know that their schools are participating in Quant Hub currently? We'll make sure that in our follow-up, as we always do with our meetings, that there'll be a flyer and some information on that. But you'll notice they've had a lot of success in the schools they've been working with. And I know that we met with them just a few weeks ago and heard some really great stories from students who are now going to have opportunities to do internships, scholarships, and even summer camps that are going to be paid for just because of their participation in Quant Hub. So look for more of that information in the follow-up debrief that we'll send. Another thing to make you aware of, the state has partnered with the Maxwell Foundation to provide our schools and districts with iLead. The iLead curriculum is very similar to a character education program. It works beautifully all the way from elementary to secondary. It fits great with advisory, with your mentor-mentee, advisor-advisee structures. I'll certainly have the information for you guys to see this, but all the materials are free. The department is providing some print materials this semester, but I think if you take a look at it as curriculum leaders, you'll see that it aligns, really well with all of our standards that are trying to help ensure that our students are college and career ready. It's a great partnership, and we want, of course, you guys to be aware of it and see how well it may fit within your curriculum at your various schools. And so would love some feedback on that. And maybe an upcoming meeting, or if you see me sometime, would love to hear your thoughts on what you're seeing from that. And last week, I believe, or week before, Dr. Mackey sent out a memo to superintendents and curriculum leaders to nominate your educator experts for several of the state textbook adoption committees. The first being Career and Technical Education has 3 clusters that'll be adopting textbooks, as well as our science committee. We always say, and I mean this wholeheartedly, thank you for all of the people that you nominate for courses of study, for textbook adoption committee, all of the things that we do, because we cannot do them without the experts that you guys provide. And so I would really love it if you would encourage some of your educators who are in these areas and would be willing to serve on those committees. We could really use those experts as we select, the materials that students and teachers will use for the next 6 years. So we'll have a copy of that memo and those nomination forms in the debrief too. But please encourage your educators who are from these areas to participate if possible. A couple of updates. The first here with early college initiatives, the College Board has announced to everyone across the country that beginning next year, if a school offers any of these 3 courses that you see on the screen, which is AP Computer Science Principles, AP Seminar with English 10 embedded in it, or AP Pre-Calculus, that school will have access to the entire pre-AP program at no cost. If you're not familiar with the pre-AP curriculum that already exists, it's certainly something that I encourage you to at least take a look at, explore, and see if it actually is something that your schools would benefit from. This is a significant change in the previous structure, where in the past those pre-AP course, the curriculum were about $3,000 per course, per teacher, per school, per year. And so the College Board making it available to schools and districts at no cost is quite significant. There's a link on this slide that if you're interested in from an administrative viewpoint or curriculum director viewpoint, if you're interested in being able to explore the curriculum before making any decisions, if you're wanted to look at it, by all means, please fill out this form by February 29th, and the College Board will be issuing some login credentials for people to take in and kind of explore and see if that's something that you're interested in doing. And by all means, take advantage of at least the opportunity to review those materials and see if it's possible that those are good fits for your school. So as long as your school offers AP Computer Science Principles, Seminar with English 10, or Pre-Cal with at least 1 student in 12th grade, you can have the entire pre-AP course curriculum at no cost. And that includes the core, that includes world languages, and that also includes some of the fine arts areas as well that pre-AP offers. So want to make you aware of that. A couple of professional learning opportunities. Just like last year, the department's going to be sponsoring some additional AP Summer Institutes. This one for Pre-Cal Computer Science Principles and English 10 and AP Seminar will be during the week of June 10th through the 14th. You see the information here, and thanks to Tuscaloosa City Schools Career and Technology Academy for being willing to host us. Those start times 8 o'clock to 4:30 in the afternoon, and we look forward to having both our new and then our also experienced teachers join us. So if you'll please encourage your teachers of Pre-Cal and Computer Science and AP Seminar folks, we would love for them to participate in this. This is just one of the few that exist out there, but this is the one that we're sponsoring, and that's at no cost to your teachers. I hope that you all have taken advantage of the problem-solving team training that's been going on this entire school year. If your district has not, or maybe some of your school leaders have not had the opportunity to go through that training, it's really, really meaningful. I'm so proud of the work of that entire team and the work that's being done. I know many of you we've heard from that says this is something that has really made a difference in the way we approach students who are struggling. And so please reach out to Christy or Jonathan to schedule that problem-solving team training. We'll have some sessions at Mega that are focused on that, but I think many of you, once you see the new problem-solving team manual, as well as the interventions and the ability for unified insights to support the work of the problem-solving team, I think you'll see that this is maybe the right direction for us to go in. And if there are any questions for me, I'm happy to take them. Certainly be around at the end.
Sean, there's a few questions in the chat that were asked about some of the things that you talked about. If you want me to ask them, I will. I'll help.
Yes, yes,
so in the chat, one of the questions was that regarding the financial literacy exam, there would be available various forms. They're asking if there's somewhere they can find those at this point.
Absolutely. So what we'll do in the follow-up debrief is go ahead and give you the links to where you can access the financial literacy assessment. It's in Schoology, but it's also, like I said, we have Word versions. We also have you have the ability to import, export those into your learning management system format. I know that you can do it with Google Classroom and of course with Schoology. And if there's another format that you need it in, we're happy to help you with that. But yes, it's already ready for you guys to take a look at, and I'll make sure you have that information in our follow-up.
Okay. One of our other questions was how long would the free course availability last?
As far as the College Board's pre-AP,
I believe so.
yeah, that's a great question. That was a question someone asked in South Alabama last week. While I don't work for the College Board, I would predict that if they're going to what they're doing is trying to focus on those 3 courses that are that I had listed earlier. They're considered priority courses, and so I would hope that it would remain free at no cost to our schools indefinitely, but certainly I would hope that it would be something that would be longer than a year, because I know many of you have that concern of if we were to implement something now and then later on it becomes something that's, cost prohibitive, then that really makes a difference when it comes to making decisions. But I know that our partners at the College Board are over the top excited about what's happening, and even just the opportunity for that to be available in any state. So I would feel comfortable at least going into it with the confidence that it's something that you'll be able to maintain and sustain long term.
And then the last question that was in the chat is how do they register for the advanced placement session in Tuscaloosa?
That information will come out as soon as we have the registration forms from the College Board. So be looking for that in the next probably less than a month, but we'll have that available all the way up until probably about 3 weeks before the close of that. So I'll make sure that you guys have it and have it in more than one place.
Thank you. That's all that's in the chat.
Awesome. I appreciate everything you guys do, and I hope you'll reach out if you need me or any of my staff to help with as you approach your end of the school year. One thing I do want to make sure I say, and I know this is on behalf of all of us, that as you're planning your professional learning sessions for your teachers, if there's anything that we as a staff can come and provide, we're always welcome, willing, and able and eager to come and provide that professional learning, no matter what sections it is within the student learning. So thank you for what you do. Monty?
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I want to start by talking about the superintendent's webinar. We had 2 opportunities for superintendents to join us or join me to go over their responsibilities as it pertains to the Alabama Literacy Act, especially with this year being the first year that students demonstrate a path to promotion. We provided resources for them as well, letters, a spreadsheet. We have all of this information available for you in the handouts for CNI in case you weren't able to join your superintendent or in case that information wasn't forwarded to you. We want to make sure you have access to that information. And I'm trying to advance the slide. And it's not playing nice. There we go. Unified Insight trainings have been underway for the SRIPs and portfolios. Hopefully you were able to get your 4 people from your LEA to attend these meetings. But if not, we want you to be sure that you know that there are additional opportunities that will be coming in conferences such as AETC and MEGA. Stacey Royster is always very good about making sure that she has opportunities for everyone to learn this information. Please also know that regional literacy leadership specialists have also received information on the Unified Insights, so they can partner with you in helping you navigate that information or come up with ideas to make it the most effective for you. We're really excited about this opportunity because truly it's going to end up reducing the reporting that you have to do for the September 15th deadline that you've had every year. It is going to basically almost eliminate everything that you're having to do. So we're really excited about this being a part. The other part of it is the goal is that it's working within what you already do, structures that you have. So for example, your SRIPs, it's very easy to develop those during your problem-solving team meeting. All of the information that is already in the student information system, including attendance and testing data, are merged into these documents wherever it's required. Demographic information. So it's information you're not having to fill out yourself. So we wanted to make sure you as curriculum directors were the driving force as to how this information is going to be added in. So be sure to direct your principals in how you want this unrolled, but it is ready for entry at this time. Science of Reading Spotlight School visits are underway. You can see that we've already had some visits that have taken place. Russellville City was on February 1st. We had Crenshaw County on February 2nd, and I believe there's one even going on today, if I'm not mistaken. But those are a great opportunity to bring a team of individuals, not to see how things are done perfectly, because none of us have arrived on everything that we need to do. But these are schools that have really moved their data, and they are using processes that the Literacy Act and Alabama Reading Initiative have been encouraging you to use. It's a great opportunity for you to share some of the great things that are going on in your district, as well as get some ideas to make them even better. So it's really a collaborative opportunity. So we encourage you to do this. Not only are there these opportunities that are on the dates that you see here, we are also going to be having opportunities during summer reading camp. So be sure to think about, where might I want to go visit for summer reading camp? I would imagine most of the visits are going to be during the June time period, because most of you are doing your summer camps in June. So be thinking about that. Great opportunity to see how other schools are working their summer reading camps. The Institutes of Higher Ed have really been kicking off some great things to highlight the science of reading. In the end of January, they had the Higher Ed Symposium at the University of North Alabama. 18 EPP programs out of 25 were represented at that meeting. And they have also worked to put together standards on the science of reading for early childhood, elementary, and special ed programs. And these programs, these standards that they've put together, they are premier. We've been hearing from national experts that Alabama is a model for higher ed standards. So they are really moving in the right direction to help support our students when pre-service students graduate. Had the opportunity at the Mobile CNI meeting to see some instruction at USA take place, their first class in literacy instruction, and they were working on the sounds and articulation that happens. The pre-service students had their hand under their chin. I could ask them, why are they doing that when they're speaking, and they could articulate that. So it was really exciting to know that they are really getting this information from their starting point as an elementary educator. Summer learning grants have gone out. We were able to fund 45 grants to various organizations and K-12 individuals. However, we had more than 200 people submit for the grant. And so a lot of great grants did not get funded because of the lack of opportunity. So hopefully this will be an opportunity to increase funding for next year. We do want you to be thinking about that. What are the things that you really need to make your summer learning K-12 really be enhanced? And think about those community organizations that can help support you. Also, the summer reading camp guidance is being released, and this will help you with your planning. The Alabama Reading Initiative is really highlighting the year of more. And the idea is not that we're providing more work, but that we're doing more with less. So we have created an ARI YouTube channel. On it, we have our professional video vignettes. Right now, phonological awareness and phonics are the vignettes that are completed, but fluency is quickly going to be on its way. Our friends in Jefferson County had a school that is our feature at the Fluency video vignettes. So we're really excited about releasing these before too long. We also have some on-demand professional learning that is in that YouTube channel, including ACAP video for parents. It helps to explain the ACAP process for our family. So we really encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity. This page should look somewhat familiar to you. The coloring is a little bit different, but it's the same flow chart that we've been using from the beginning, where we start with the early year screening. We ask, does a student have a deficiency in one or more areas? You're going to work to address those deficiencies in Tier 1 and in Tier 2. And then you're going to see, does the student have a consistent deficiency? And if the answer is yes, that student gets that student reading improvement plan, that dyslexia-specific intervention, which is good for all struggling readers, not just students with dyslexia. You're continuing your Tier 1 and Tier 2 support. You're providing additional tutorial support. You're giving them summer reading camp. You're doing all those things. But it's real important to note that we're pouring all this into them to eliminate the deficiencies. So be sure that you're keeping your students in this support until the deficiency no longer exists. We want to make sure that that's understood, that we're not just looking for improvement, we're looking to provide that support until the deficiency no longer exists. ARI has released some ACAP instructional resources, or a PowerPoint to help you walk through the resources that Maggie's office has developed. If you have not taken the opportunity to look through these, you definitely want to. They're really fantastic. Really want to emphasize the power of student-centered coaching. ARI has really worked this year with our coaching community to do something that is really hands-on learning for our coaches. And the response has been incredible. We're hearing things about the results-based coaching tool, like this is not just a piece of paper. I really understand how this is helping to guide me in supporting my teachers. And I can see that the student outcomes are improving. Like that's what we want to see. I heard from a fourth grade teacher the other day, a fourth year coach the other day who said, I'm in my fourth year, and this year I feel like I really understand what coaching is all about. It's a partnership. It's not an authority position. It's not a top-down position. It is a partnership with a teacher. And I really want to emphasize that coaching is not for the weak. It is not for the new. It is for all. Think about your professional sports. Think about your Super Bowl team. They're giving coaching to the best. And we also want to make sure that we are empowering our best. And our best can really be a catalyst for supporting others. I want you to constantly be thinking about, how am I empowering my teachers for that next step? When my local reading specialist decides that they're going to go do something else, do I have somebody in the ranks who is ready for that position? And you've given them opportunities to be a teacher leader in literacy because they've got those great capabilities. So really be looking at that. We've also heard how efficient the model is that we're providing, because the results-based coaching tool is making you really go down to specific needs. We heard from a teacher who said, I'm working on vocabulary in this one group. And when I finish that vocabulary lesson, I'm not staying for the full literacy block. I'm able to move on to another teacher and work on comprehension with her. And so that's real important to look about how are you making coaching the most efficient as well. Professional learning. Now, this one is really under Sean Stevens' section, but we've been helping to gather support for grades 4th and up in the science of reading. We've had national experts who have told us this Hill Learning Center, Big Dipper's professional learning is fantastic in the science of reading. We've explored it a little bit ourselves. It is certainly not the depth that letters is, but it's a great way to provide professional learning in the science of reading for your grades 4 and up. It's a self-paced course. Anybody who is a participant in it must be committed to complete it. There's limited opportunities available, and priority schools will be considered, although they will not be the only schools to receive support. We want to make sure we're having a maximum statewide impact for this professional learning. And the registration is going to be coming out very soon from Kimberly Brown from Instructional Services under Sean Stevens' section. So you're really going to be wanting to get in on the ground level of this. Like I said, the opportunities are limited. There's only a certain number of licenses that we'll be able to share out, but this professional learning is very reasonably priced. It's around $150 per license. So if your people don't get in, or you have a person who gets in, but you want to give the opportunity to more people in your school or your district, this may be a very reasonable professional learning for you to add on for your grades 4 and up. It will not be available for K-3 educators. It is just for those in grades 4 through up. And now I believe we are ready for our ALSDE friends. Do I have any questions while we are waiting?
Bonnie, we have one question that was asked in the chat. If there is a recording available from the superintendent's webinar.
The recording is me walking through the PowerPoint. So when you go in onto the resources we have, you'll hear me talking through every slide on that PowerPoint. You can just press play on the slide and it will advance on its own.
Perfect. The other thing that was sort of mentioned in the chat was teachers will ask if there will be compensation, like letters for the training that you mentioned that Kim Brown is the point of contact.
No, there will not be compensation for that. This is professional learning that we are offering. It is not nearly the rigor that letters has. When you're talking about letters, you're talking about over 150 hours of professional learning that's going into the work. And we cannot be assured that that stipend money will continue, because that stipend money is being funded with ESSER funds. So keep that in mind too. But the Big Dipper professional learning, it is more like 15 hours of professional learning. So not nearly the rigor, but they do get professional learning credit, and they also get the great incentive of helping more students. I know that's hokey, but it really is the most important part of the whole thing.
Thank you. That's all we had in the chat.
We'll see if our ALSDE friends are nearby. Do I have an ALSDE friend?
I'm online.
Perfect.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? My name is Amy Murphy, and I am the science coordinator for ALSDE here at the State Department. And I'm going to just share some updates with you about, first we're going to start with science. Before we get to science, I do want to share with you ALSDE's vision and mission and our 3 essential services of professional learning, instructional materials, and ongoing educator support. And as we talk about ALSDE updates this morning, we're going to focus on these 3 areas of support. So as you all know, recently the science course of study was approved by the board back in December, and we have been working to roll out new professional learning opportunities as part of this adoption. We've got a couple of handouts that I want to put in the chat box for you that go with this slide. They're also linked in the slide notes there. But to begin with, our K-8 science content, PLOs, you've probably referred to them as kit training in the past, will begin this summer. And the new kits will go into effect August of 2024. And all of the kits will be aligned to both the 2015 course of study and the recently approved 2023 course of study. Our K-2 training will begin in June and will be available throughout the school year at your regional ALSDE sites. And then the 3-5 training will begin in July and again will be available throughout the school year. Moving on to 9-12 science. We got a couple handouts here as well. We are celebrating the 30 years of Science in Motion program, and we are in the process of updating our processes to make us a more efficient and more effective program. And so we will be offering our current professional learning opportunities and kits through this upcoming school year, but we will not be offering training on those current kits after the end of this school year. So that's May of 2024. And that's because we're in the process of developing new kits, new content PLOs that we're going to roll out summer of 2025. There will be an opportunity for select teachers at our select sites to train on the pilot of these new lessons. And that information will be shared via our ASIM site specialist. But if you look at the flyers that I've shared in the chat box, those ALSDE for all PLOs will be available to meet the needs of our team's teachers. I see in the chat somebody asked about 6-8. I think that slide may have been skipped, but there's a flyer that has the 6-8 information as well. K-8 is starting this summer. 9-12 will start next summer. And the flyers details all of the information. Okay, if we can go on to the next slide there. One of the new PLOs that we will be offering is our Science Teacher Leader Academy, which is being piloted in 3 of our regions currently. We're very excited to offer this opportunity. It's designed to grow and support science teacher leaders through the PLC process and through that student-centered coaching that Bonnie talked about with her ARI coaches earlier. This Teacher Leader Academy is centered around the ambitious science teaching practices. I don't know how many of you are aware that there are teaching practices for science education, just like there are for math. And so we've been embedding those practices into our Teacher Leader Academy. The next slide gives you a little more detail about that Teacher Leader Academy. It's 24 hours of professional learning. The participants must attend all 4 of the PLC sessions and complete those at least 2 coaching cycles documented with their ALSDE specialist. And then this is the book, Ambitious Science Teaching, that is required of participants. And we ask that the school districts cover substitute cost as well. And this will be a limited opportunity based on the number of specialists we have available in each region. And then finally, I just wanted to make a note about our foundational training. This is a prerequisite for all of our new content PLOs, which is a prerequisite for receiving our materials kits. And so our ASIM teachers, as well as our K-8 teachers, need to attend. If they attended from September of 2021 through December of 2023, they're kind of grandfathered in. Otherwise, they need to attend our SFT, we're calling it SFT 2024, so that to distinguish it from the original. And those are being offered now through this summer, next school year, and into next summer. So there's plenty of opportunity for teachers to come and participate in those SFT sections. And just so you know that we will be continuing to develop our instructional materials to coincide with the rollout of the 2023 course of study standards. We are dedicated to supporting our teams teachers. We're going to be updating our online training. We're going to be developing proficiency scales and formative assessment items around the new standards. And so we're looking forward to this course of study rollout. I see a couple of questions in the chat about science training. Is it okay if I go ahead and answer those before we get into the math? So I answered the question about the 6-8 training. There is a handout listed for what those kits are going to be, what they're going to be named and what they look like. We will not be able to offer AMSTI training at Mega because these trainings are multi-day trainings, and Mega is not really set up for us to do a multi-day training. Teachers who are trained on current kits, if they want us to receive the new kits, they will have to attend the new training. Some of the kits are staying, and those flyers indicate which of those kits are staying and which of those are going to be new. There is an opportunity for crossover training as well for teachers who have already been trained, and the prerequisites for those are listed on those flyers as well. Teacher Leader Academy is a K-12 offering. But again, it is a limited opportunity based on the number of specialists in the region. And so we encourage you to connect with your regional site director to set that up. K-5 kits for the current year will not be available next school year. We're transitioning into the new AMSTI science kits for next school year. It looks like another question about Mega. So no, we're not going to offer AMSTI training at Mega. And yes, all of our AMSTI trainings are Teams approved. So again, if you still have questions about that, I'll answer those again at the end. But I'm going to continue here with math updates as well. So in addition to our science content, of course, we have a wide variety of professional learning opportunities for our K-5 math. That includes our math foundational training and course of study training, which is required for all of our full and limited support coaches and schools. Numerous AMSTI for All opportunities that include numbers and OGAP training, specific content area training based on the reporting categories for ACAP and ACT. And then you can access that menu of service, which is shown here on the screen, by going to amsti.org and clicking on our professional learning tab. And then in addition to those professional learning opportunities, we offer our Math Teacher Leader Academy components. And you can see here on the slide, we have a 3-hour coaching overview session, a 3-hour K-5 number talks, 6-hour foundational training for math, and then a 12-hour operations with numbers base 10. And then the follow-up to that happens through the coaching cycles, similar to what I mentioned earlier with the Science Teacher Leader Academy, which is embedded throughout the school year. As you are probably aware, our AMSTI mentoring specialists are working side by side with those building-based math coaches to support them through that evidence-based coaching that helps teachers improve their practice and increases student learning. So that side-by-side partnership that Bonnie alluded to earlier, and we're helping those coaches develop their coaching and leadership skills in addition to helping our AMSTI specialists grow as coaches and mentoring coaches. All right. And just an update here to let you know that AMSTI recently received another Education Innovation and Research grant from the Department of Ed, which is going to be used for virtual learning and tutoring in high school geometry. We're really excited about this opportunity to use virtual reality headsets and AI tutors. We will be sharing more details about this, we hope, at the spring CNI meetings, but as soon as we have it available, we will be sharing more details of how you can participate in that opportunity. And again, if you want to visit amsti.org and go to the professional learning tab, you can see all of our professional learning menus of service. You can visit our registration links to register for summer training. This is the best place to register for our summer training. You click on your regional site link and it will provide you all the dates. There's also a calendar view on that page. It gets a little cluttered with all the different colors, but either way, you can find what's going on in your specific AMSTI region for this school year and for summer. Okay, I see one more question about new science kits being offered online. Eventually, we will roll those into online training, but this year the new kits will only be offered face-to-face until we can develop that online training.
Thank
Any
you,
other
Amy.
questions? That was a
Amy,
lot.
I was gonna backtrack just a little bit because I know Mr. Jones and a couple others went last week to hear a little bit more about this grant that's upcoming. William, not to just throw you under the bus, but can you give them maybe just a snapshot of what this particular grant's going to look like? We're really excited because it does have some super cool features, like with the virtual learning and the headsets and the AI and all of that. But William, you tell them just a little bit, because this is a new opportunity for all of us.
Oh, absolutely. We actually have two EIR grants from the USDOE that, as Amy said, we hope to give you some flyers and maybe some more information at the spring CNI meetings. But we definitely, for those of you that might already be interested, or we got your attention, certainly want to hear from you. Our first grant, some of you on the call may already be participating in, but we still have spots available. And that's a grant that we're utilizing with Algebra 1 teachers that are using Math Nation for tutoring and for their core curriculum in Algebra 1. So we currently have about 34 high schools that are on board with that EIR grant. It provides training and some additional teacher stipends and several other things. But if you believe one of your schools might be interested in participating, we'd love to hear from you on that. And then the grant that's on the screen, the Curio XR grant for geometry, as Amy said, deals with virtual reality. Teachers in that grant will receive extensive training on the use of virtual reality headsets. Those headsets will be provided by Curio XR and will allow teachers to use those virtual headsets to do some differentiated support, some hands-on learning in that 3D space of virtual learning, to be able to rotate shapes and look at shapes in that space. And so certainly are excited about what can come out of both of these grants. But if you're interested in either one, we definitely want to hear from you, and go ahead and add your district name, your school names to the list of interested candidates for consideration. And then, as Amy said, we'll get more information out to you, hopefully over the next several months. So thank you.
Thank you, William. And just while I'm thinking about it, in terms of AI, going back to our prep curriculum that I was sharing at the very beginning, Sue Ellen Gillen did an amazing session with her staff on artificial intelligence in the classroom using some really cool tools. They did some demos, and it was amazing. So even for some of your veteran teachers, if you want to go back and see that session that they did on technology, it was incredible. It was really amazing. I see Dr. Garner has joined us. So Joe, I'll be your slide advancer, so I will pass it on to you.
Thank you, Vanna. And good morning, my friends across the state. I am Joe Garner, and it's a pleasure for me to be able to represent OSI and share some updates from OSI with you this morning. In December of 2023, there was some identification of new schools within the ESSA guidelines for school improvement. There were 14 schools identified as CSI, and these were 14 schools that were moved from ATSI to CSI status because they failed to show growth in subpopulation performance when compared to all students. This is the first time in our state that we've had CSI schools identified specifically for deficits in subpopulation performance in each of the accountability indicator areas when compared to all students. We also had 244 new schools identified as TSI, and these are schools that could either be Title I or non-Title I, but with a subpopulation performance, again, that is well below the performance of all students in any of those accountability indicator areas. And then based upon the Alabama Accountability Act, we had 206 schools identified as priority schools, formerly known what we call as failing schools, but no longer failing schools. That's negative connotation. These are priority schools. And if you look at the map to the right of the slide, you'll see where the CSI, Governor's Turnaround Schools, ATSI and TSI schools are identified across the state. You can see as far north as you can possibly get, as far south as you can get, east and west. We have a team of approximately 18 full-time staff members and another 12 retired state employees, and we support each of these schools as a priority across the state. I wanted to provide you all also with some information regarding the designation, the identifying criteria, how long the assignment is to that particular identified area, what supports that we can offer, and most importantly, how do you get off the list? Being that these were identified, the original list came out in 2022 for CSI schools, ATSI schools, and the new CSI schools and TSI schools were identified in December. I have talked to Marcus and Accountability. There will be new identifications taking place in the fall of 2025. So although you may be a CSI school that was just assigned as a CSI status, in 2025, there will be re-identification. But the priority of which we provide support is to, first and foremost, the comprehensive support and improvement schools, those CSI and the Governor's Turnaround schools. To be identified as a CSI school, you must be a Title I school in the bottom 5% of Title I schools. And any Title I ATSI school that fails to exit ATSI status after 3 years. So that came into play with this identification in December. And that is where our priority lies. Second on our priority list is the additional targeted support and improvement schools. That means they have one or more subgroups that perform below the threshold for all students in the lowest performing schools. The duration for ATSI is 3 years, and to get off that list, no longer meet eligibility criteria for ATSI, and demonstrates improved student performance as compared to all students with that subpopulation. And then TSI is a yearly identification, one or more consistently underperforming subgroups, and it says specifically one or more, which means you could have an identified subpopulation for students with disabilities, but you could also have another subpopulation for failing to meet English language proficiency goals. We provide technical assistance to ATSI, TSI schools, and the priority schools based upon the Accountability Act upon request. We are in the planning process of developing a school improvement conference to be held in November, December of 2025. Right after that, the new identifications come out. So be looking forward to that in the near future. And also provided you with a hyperlink to the OSI's differentiated support and accountability guide. Provides you with some insight, a little bit more detail into the identifications as well. Oh, thank you, Dr. Shields. Provides you with a lot of information, a lot of resources when you're asked, well, what does it mean to be a TSI school, or what does it mean to be an ATSI school? The differentiated support guide provides you with all of that information and helps you to be able to communicate to stakeholders more effectively. Dr. Shields, can you go back to that last? Thank you. All right, we recently did an onboarding for the 14 newly identified CSI schools. We will be recording and releasing an onboarding for the newly identified TSI schools with 244. Felt like we would better serve that group by recording the onboarding and sending that out to you all, and having office hours to provide additional support to you all. So be looking for that information in the near future. Thank you, Dr. Shields. And also, you can see our team to the right of the slide. There's 18 of us currently providing support throughout the state to the CSI schools as mandated and as request for ATSI, TSI, and the priority schools. But keep in mind, if there's any area that you need support, you can go to the OSI website and do a support request. And it doesn't matter if you're Title I, ATSI, CSI, S-identified school, or priority school. If you need support, as Sean Stevens pointed out earlier, we are here to either provide the support or line you with individuals and groups that can provide that intentional support for any area you may need. Also a list of, on our website, ACIP support site, coaching framework. So a lot of resources available, hyperlink to this slide. Thank you, Dr. Shield.
Thanks,
And-
Joe. Yeah.
Go ahead, Dr. Shields.
Well, I popped up the ACIP site because I know this at time of year we're doing mid-year reviews, and everybody kind of does their own protocol for mid-year review. Unless you're an identified school, we've got some specific supports, but we really appreciate kind of the authenticity of how you guys go through, this time of year, trying to figure out this is where we are, this is where we want to be. We have really gleaned a lot of great practices from those mid-year reviews. I know some folks call them different things, but we did provide some support. So if you are leading that at your district or school and you want to know, okay, what should that look like? You can certainly go to our ACIP page to see, here are some structures in place. And Joe, the only other thing I was thinking, and you may have said it as I was trying to keep up with the slides, but we did notice, and you probably have as well, if you were an ATSI or TSI school, many of those schools are identified through students with specific needs. So our students with disabilities or special education students. So we are partnering with special education to determine how we can better provide coverage on what does true co-teaching, co-planning, what does that look like? What does it look like in a tier 1 scenario? What does it look like tier 2, tier 3, so that we can make sure we're shoring up these gaps with our special education population.
Thank you, Dr. Shields. Someone just asked a question about where they can find information related to mid-year review.
I will throw that in the chat while you are hitting professional learning.
Thank you very much. And as I stated a little bit ago, we are here to support you in whatever area you've identified that you need support. It's not just doing an instructional audit to identify gaps, but to set up specific professional learning opportunities for either your leadership team, central office staff, or your teachers to help close the gap and improve achievement or performance in each of those accountability indicator areas. Our focus is to help schools improve in those accountability areas, but we do so through the framework of the 4 domains of rapid school improvement, which includes turnaround leadership, climate and culture shift, talent development. So those are just 3 of the things included in that document. The 4 domains of rapid school improvement can be found on the OSI website as well.
And Joe, what I'm going to do, because I'm looking at the chat, so this is the OSI website. I would say, just thinking of just kind of the time of year, if you've not had an opportunity to look at, ACAP resources, we've got some really great stuff on secondary. We have dedicated staff to supporting 412 content literacy and secondary ELA. Some great resources there, some amazing work across the state. But particularly with ACAP, if you are a new curriculum director, if you are a new leader, I would say this is a site you need to bookmark. This is everything related to ACAP and ACT. Looks like some are already on. You will find there, because I know AMSTI has great stuff. ARI has great stuff. There are so many tools and resources that there's almost too much. So what we've tried to do is to create a space that you can just go to this one Google Doc and find all the things you need related to ACAP supports. Joe, I was thinking of that presentation I know William put together, and it's kind of like here's a checklist for all things that teachers would need as they are new to ACAP. What are those things I need to make sure? Yep, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. We've got text dependent writing, we've got the test blueprints. Pretty much anything that you could need is here. So this is, if you've not bookmarked this before, we love it when we're in schools and teachers will say, I have that bookmark. I go to that all the time. That's what we want, because we know it's sometimes hard to navigate. Maybe the state website, DRC has a lot of resources. So we've tried to put as much as we can on this one space for you and for your teachers, just to make sure that everything is easy to find.
And as well, there's a great deal of resources on that same page for ACT. And I am proud to say that if you are attending Mega, OSI is hosting or facilitating about 30 different presentations at Mega. So we look forward to seeing you there.
Thanks, Joe. All right. I'm going to pass it over to Wayne with Ed Tech.
Thank you. Better, a little bit taller than you are. Hello, everybody. First of all, Sue Ellen asked me to apologize for her not being here today. She had a scheduling conflict. So you guys get me. So let's go ahead and get started. We always like to start out with a tech tool spotlight. Today, the one we want to talk about is Magic School, and it's a AI assistant for teachers. Let me start by cautioning everybody, please make sure you read the fine print on this. Make sure you adhere to your local BOE's policy. Make sure you've talked to your superintendent and your technology leader in your district to make sure this is okay to use in your district. But it's a really cool website. It's linked there in the bit.ly link or the QR code. It has lots and lots of tools on it, but we're just going to kind of look real quick at 4 of those tools. The first one is the text leveler, and it's just like it says, you can take the text from any grade level and it will adjust the reading level of that text to fit other students. So if you've got an 11th grade student who's only on a 8th grade level or something, you can adjust it with the text leveler. Another tool there is Make It Relevant. Basically you can take any of your lessons and use this, make it relevant to tie it around the interest of your students. You know, if it's Iron Bowl week or something, you can take it and make your lessons revolve around Alabama and Auburn football. So it's a really cool tool. Song generator. Sue Ellen was actually telling me yesterday that she used this with her daughter. She was studying mitosis, and she took the subject of mitosis, and her daughter's a Taylor Swift fan. She was able to take mitosis and with that tool create a song using basically the tune of a Taylor Swift song to make the song about mitosis so she could learn about mitosis. So it's a really cool tool. The math story word problems, you just, like it says, you create custom math word problems. You can use the name of celebrities, names of students in your class or whatever, and it'll generate the word problem around whoever you put in there or whatever. So the next thing I want to talk about is AETC. I want to remind everybody that every LEA gets 4 free registrations. The email with that registration link would have been sent to your technology director, so you need to get with them. The tech director and the superintendent will will be the ones to decide who goes, but every district does get 4 free. If you're not one of the 4 free ones, please come anyway. It's a very inexpensive registration cost. Also, I don't want to steal Stacy Royster's thunder, but one of the things we wanted to mention was any of you who have been around for a long time and remember the old STI program and the old STI conferences they used to have in Point Clear. AETC is going to kind of take the place of that in Alabama. We're going to have a lot of Power School sessions and stuff there. So if you're a counselor or anybody who uses Power School a lot and you need some lessons on it, there will be a lot of sessions there. So please put it on your calendar and try to attend. Ed Tech Awards. April 12th is the deadline to nominate somebody. So please, if you've got somebody in your district that you want to get recognized, please submit their name. The AIM and Ed directory help guides. This is something that we have worked on to try to get some guidance on. A lot of you probably are not the point person in your district, but you may still have questions about it. So the guides are linked here. I know just recently I've had several questions where I have sent out emails to tech directors, and the right person was not getting it, and they were asking me, how do you get it updated? Well, if how you're listed in Ed directory is how you're set up in our mailing list here too. So it's important that those things are correct. So if you need any help with it, the help guides are there and they're linked here. Access. We've got 2 things here we're pretty excited to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about is the Access Live. That's something that we are piloting right now. Basically what that is, right now I would say about 90% of our Access classes are asynchronous. A lot of times students have questions, and if the facilitator can't answer that question, they have to email the teacher and wait for the teacher to answer their question. With the Access Live, what you'll be able to do is basically enter a chat where you'll be speaking to a certified teacher to help answer your questions. Right now, like I said, it's being piloted, so each service center may have a little bit different course that they have it available for. So if you have questions about that or whatever, please reach out to your Access in-service center. So the other thing is the Access franchise model. We like to refer to that as our best kept secret, but it's available for everybody. If your teachers want access to all these courses and stuff that we have already built out in Access that are already set to the standards, they're already set up, ready to go. Your teachers can have access to it to use in their classroom, not just the online classes. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out to us. There's a link there and also a QR code. Alex, the Alabama Learning Exchange. We have a new URL. I just want to mention that right now this is still kind of a work in progress, but we're working hard to grow and improve the platform. It's a new site, and we're still working on getting everything there, but it is up and it is going. So please make note of the new URL. Upcoming Alex events. One of the things I want to mention is as far as gyms, I want to thank everybody for supporting that over the years. This is the biggest year ever. There's over 700 girls, and that wouldn't be possible without your support. So thank you for that. Also, make note of the Course of Study Summit that will be coming up this summer. And as far as ATEM e-learning, I just want to remind you all that the ATEM specialists are available to come to your district or virtual to work with your teachers to do PD. just reach out to your service center. They can help you schedule getting the ATM specialist to come to your district. Also, don't forget about the Alabama virtual field trips. We have one every month. The link there is on the QR code or the bit.ly to get the schedule of those field trips. Does anybody have any questions? All right.
Thank you. And welcome to your first official CNI meeting. You didn't get to touch on E-rate, my favorite thing. That's for another session altogether. If you've ever had the joys of working with E-rate, you'd understand that little side remark. I do see Anna Shepherd Jones has joined us. We are really excited about some work that's moving forward with our School of Principal Leadership and Mentoring Act. There are a lot of people working really, really hard behind the scenes. We finally have an FAQ document. It is growing. It's just going to be a document that continues to morph as we get questions and field them. But Anna, I will just move the slide. So you just tell me when.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Shields.
You're welcome.
All right. Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Okay, wonderful. Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Shepherd Jones, and I primarily support the work that's tied to this act. I'm joined with Ms. Talina Madison. We're in professional learning, and we are here to talk to you about this new act. We all know how critical principals and assistant principals are to student success and positive school outcomes. They are leading the work that is creating the conditions quality and in their school. So we're really excited about law for our principals and assistant principals. We also are supporting their leadership development. So our goal for today is to give you a very high-level overview of this act. So I'll go ahead and start the school principal leader. If you don't mind bumping back one, Dr. Shields, thank you so much. I'm going to go over the purposes of the School Principal Leadership and Mentoring Act. It was passed in June 2023. You may have heard it referred to as SB 300 before the law was enacted. And this law has a threefold purpose. And the first is to create and implement the Alabama Principal Leadership Development System for principals and assistant principals. So this new leadership development system is represented by the graphic that was in that previous slide. You'll see that logo if you look at it closer. And on the inner circle, it has the different components of the leadership development system. On the outside circle, you'll see a rim with certain words. Those words are visionary, instructional, managerial and operational, relational, and innovative. And those represent the 5 domains of principal effectiveness. And that language is pulled straight from the law. So the second purpose of the law is to provide a mentoring program for new principals and a high-quality professional learning program for all principals and assistant principals that targets their leadership development. This is something that's wrapped up into the components of the new leadership system, but they're so important that they've been specifically named as the purpose of the law. And the third purpose of the law is to provide annual stipends for principals and assistant principals who successfully complete all program requirements. And when you hear us refer to the program, we're referring to that Alabama Principal Leadership Development System. Something I do want to lift up here is that those annual stipends are going to be contingent upon legislative appropriations, and we know that happens from year to year. So we'll be looking for those stipends as a line items in the budget. But I do want to talk more about the program requirements because those stipends are also tied to that. I think we're ready for that next slide, Dr. Shields. Thank you, ma'am. All right, so you'll see in this timeline that the program is being designed and implemented through several phases and over multiple years. If you take a look at that first gray box, you'll see that year 1 implementation is next school year, the 2024-25 school year, and it will take 5 years to be fully implemented. If you look back at those blue boxes, they represent the design focus. And so the design focus for this year was first we had to establish a design team charged with developing all these different components of the program. They are a dynamic group made up of principals, assistant principals, teachers, superintendents, school board members, higher ed faculty, representatives, and members of the governor's office and other professional organizations such as A+. So they are a group that has diverse experiences and perspectives who are coming together to develop this program that we feel like will greatly impact and have a positive impact for our teachers and students. So they realize the weight of their charge and they're really working hard to make this happen for you. So their first focus was to revisit and update our current leadership standards that we have in place for principals and assistant principals. Now, those new standards are called the Alabama Standards for School Leadership. Where we're at in that process is that those standards have been drafted. They were presented to the state board last week during work session, and they'll be available for public viewing and comment pretty soon. So just be on the lookout for that information coming out. When you do see them, you'll see that they'll be organized around those 5 domains of principal effectiveness that we talked about, those words on the outside rim of that circle of the graphic. So now the design team is turning their focus to developing a principal leadership framework. And this framework will provide a clear target for what effective school leadership is and will serve as a resource to help in the implementation of those new standards and really help the growth of our school administrators. Also know that this framework meets the instructional leadership framework requirement of the Alabama Numeracy Act. So really excited to be partnering with OMI as we engage in this work. And we're also partnering with CLASS to develop the principal mentoring program. So that's actually where Ms. Madison and I are right now. We're at a CLASS conference, and we just got done talking about all these different requirements of the law and the program with some of the principals here today. So we're excited to be partnering with them. You'll see that in that next blue box that by July 1st, 2024, the State Department is going to release a list of approved high-quality professional learning. And the law states that high-quality professional learning have to be aligned to those new leadership standards, the framework, and the Alabama standards for professional learning, because the law says that principals and assistant principals will be required to participate in 5 additional days of high quality professional learning aligned to those things. So let's talk more about, hey, what's going to be new for our principals and assistant principals? And let's start with next year. So if you look at that first grade box for the 24-25 school year, you'll see that all principals and assistant principals will complete a professional learning plan in the AIM Teaching Effectiveness application. Now, this isn't new, right? Most principals and APs are completing that PLP, but what is different is first that timeline. That PLP timeline starts July 1st and runs through June 30th. So that's being bumped up a month. Also, the teaching effectiveness application is being revamped right now to meet the requirements of the law. And the law says that the PLP has to include at least one goal related to achievement or growth or both, and at least one goal related to school climate. And your plan for participating in those 5 additional days of high quality professional learning. And so that high quality professional learning, the idea here is that me as an administrator, I'm determining what PD I need to deepen my knowledge, leadership development and knowledge to help me meet those goals, right? And so all principals and assistant principals will be participating in the 5 additional days of that high quality professional learning. Something I want to lift up too of, hey, what's going to be on this list? That's the conversation we had earlier today with a lot of those principals. And so we're going to be getting with ALSDE and OSI and ARI and OMI and all the different sections that already target your professional learning needs. And that's going to be reflected in that list, right? Something I want to lift up here too, all elementary principals, and the law does state that they are required to participate in early literacy and numeracy professional learning. Well, that's being provided through the Everyone Counts professional learning and the Strong Readers professional learning. So that's going to be a required piece of those 5 days of high quality professional learning. And then something else that's going to be new and rolled out for next year is participation in the principal mentoring program. And this will be provided for newly employed first-time principals. And what that means is I'm a principal who's been, I start employment on or after July 1st of 2024. This is the program requirement for me. So if I've never been a principal before, but I start in June 2024, this requirement does not apply to me. So we are excited about this mentoring program opportunity because y'all, this is something very unique and very much so needed for our principals. Only about half of our support that mentoring program, and I was just joined. If you want to speak on her, by Dr. Tamika Sanders. Many of you probably already know her. She is coordinating these efforts with class. Is there anything you want to lift up about the principal mentoring program?
Well, right now we are in the process of hiring principal mentors, and we are in need of 50 retirees to be a mentor for us, or to serve as mentors. We do currently have the application, and it can be found on the website. And actually, Anna is going to put that information in the chat box for you. So if you know of anyone who would make a good principal mentor for these first year principals, please, please, please have them fill out that application so that we can get some really good quality mentors in place as we begin our program. I am currently working with a design team to design this whole mentoring piece. And we are meeting regularly with the State Department on what we are doing and the deliverables that they're going to be providing. And so we're just all excited, and we're looking forward to being able to roll this out.
Thank you, ma'am. She's a very busy lady, so I appreciate that. And like she said, I just dropped that application into the chat box. Please spread the word because we want quality mentors to help support our new principals. So something else that the law states is that principals will participate in the mentoring program for 2 consecutive years. So if I'm a new principal for the 24-25 school year, I'm going to continue to participate in that mentoring program the following year for 25-26. This is around the time that you'll also see the department is providing professional learning on those new leadership standards, the framework, and then the evaluation system once it's been fully developed. And then by 2027-28 school year, that's when we're going to roll out the entire evaluation system. So it's not just going to include the PLP, it's also going to pick up the other pieces of an evaluation system, such as the self-assessment and the supervisor evaluation, because now you've had an opportunity to participate in professional learning on those things. That's one question that we just had this morning from a principal, and she said, okay, I've got Lead Alabama. Am I going to have a self-assessment next year? And based off those new standards, and that was a phenomenal question. We are rolling this out in pieces because that's not fair to you all to say, all right, by July 1st, you need to be so aware of the new standards that you have to complete the self-assessment. You've not had the opportunity to fully understand those standards. So that's why for the next school year, it's only going to be that PLP aligned with those requirements of the law, with those particular goals. And then you're going to be providing that evidence of your participation and application of that professional learning, and then that self-reflection. So that self-assessment piece is not going to be picked up until the 2027-28 school year. And then by 2029-30, that's when all principals, so whether they're veteran or new, whomever, all principals will participate in a leadership academy. That's going to be a one-time year-long leadership academy. And something else I'll add is that to keep in mind that these program requirements are additive. So they build up. So by that 2029-30, all this out. As a principal, I'm participating in the Leadership Academy, but I'm also participating along with APs, the new evaluation system, in addition to those 5 additional days of high quality professional learning, and the new mentoring program if I'm a new principal. So if we want to go to that next slide, Dr. Shields, just to hear the stipends, because that's what we're getting a lot of questions with. Like, talk to me about the money, right? So principals in the law, it says that they can earn up to $10,000 and up to an additional $5,000 for serving high poverty or a low performing school. So a couple things here. is that the law says up to. So all that, we just put that caveat out, is pending legislative appropriations, whatever they provide, right? And then it will be up to that amount. If a high poverty is defined in the law, is if you're serving a school that has at least 75% free reduced lunch rate, or you're providing free meals to all students through CEP. And then that low performing or targeted support schools, those are your schools that have been identified through the Alabama Accountability System, CSI, ATSI, TSI, schools that have been identified as priority schools because they've received a D or F on the report card, and schools that have been identified as full support or limited support through the Numeracy Act or Literacy Act. And then for your APs, they can receive up to half of that, right? So the process being, one question we got this morning, the legislator determines, hey, how much money we're going to have, right? And then that money, it could be a district deciding that they're going to give you a certain amount of money. It's going to be a standard amount across the state, right? So we give it to the district, and then the district are going to distribute that amount to the principal. So it's not going to be Vestavia Hills over here, that superintendent decides to do 8,000, and Lee County over here decides to do 6. It's going to be a standard amount across the state, across the board. I think we're ready for that next slide, Dr. Shields, and I think this may be just our FAQ, right? So we know that this information is new, y'all, to you all as directors and to our principals. We've been fielding a lot of questions, and so has class. So we have collected those frequently asked questions. We've developed this FAQ document. So you've got it linked here. I encourage you to click on that. You can see information by certain categories. And we're going to continue to update this document as those questions come in. We are here to help you in any way we can. Because we know it's information that's new. But also, you've got that FAQ. Please reach out to us directly. Just give us a call, shoot us an email. You can also email us at principalact@alsde.edu if you have more questions or just need clarification, because that's our role and we're happy to do it. And I'll go ahead and just drop that FAQ link into the chat box as well, so you can quickly access it. But that's all the information we have for y'all. If y'all have any questions for us.
Hi, yes, my name is Elizabeth Green, and I'm with Special Education Services. I'm going to share a few resources and things that we have. First is that Mastering the Maze, which is our guidance document for all of our processes from eligibility and IEP, has been updated. It's the first time since 2019, so it's updated new for 2024. And the newest version is interactive with links and videos. And there's also a training version available that you can use for training. We have Special Education Service live binders on a variety of topics that can be used for IEP writing and other things as well. We have the differentiated instructional guides, and then we have also standards for the Alabama Alternate Achievement, and then proficiency scales. There's a live binder for secondary transition, the Essentials Pathway courses, and then we have toolkits for teachers that are providing inclusion services, and then also teachers that are working on students with alternate standards. We have a YouTube channel, and I don't know about you, but you can learn to do just about anything on YouTube. I have changed my dryer drum. I have changed windshield wipers on a state car on the interstate one time. There's lots of things you can do on YouTube. And so we have added now short videos that teachers can use to help them with their IEP development, assistive technology, and also things for gifted education. We have done this year a series of virtual presentations called SES Shorts, and they are just-in-time professional development. They last 60 minutes with 45 minutes of instruction and then a time for questions and answers. And with a link here, you can go and see the calendar for any upcoming sessions. There'll be some IEP sessions coming up soon. And then also you can see the recordings and slide presentations from past sessions. We use Schoology for our in-person trainings, hybrid trainings, and also asynchronous learning. And then we host a series of Schoology groups as well. And we really get a lot of good feedback from participants in training when we use Schoology, because you're able to have access to all of the materials, and it's much easier to provide turnaround training. And teachers have access to the materials forever. They stay in their Schoology. So we have several Schoology groups around alternate standards, transition, IEP. There's behavior group. And also one for high leverage practices. And then we have access here to our SES training calendar, which is all of the trainings for the current school year. And again, they're constantly updated. So if there isn't something there that you're looking for now, it's possible that it will be there in the future. There's registration links to PowerSchool on a variety of topics. Several of the trainings that we've had this past month have been on the Differentiated Instruction Guide, or the DIG. And this is used for annual goals, writing annual goals, progress monitoring, and really helping to guide instruction for our students with disabilities. There were 3 trainings offered regionally in the month of January, but more training can be requested, more regional training, by contacting Terry Schreiber. And she's a member of our instructional support team. And talking about the DIG, they have DIGs already developed, or those differentiated instruction guides have been developed for English language arts and for math. And we're going to be in the process of now creating a DIG for science curriculum. And so there's opportunity here for teachers to participate and help to develop the science DIG. And again, you can contact Terry Schreiber for more information about how teachers can participate in this opportunity. A lot of questions come out about the ACAP alternate and the decision-making tool when it comes time to write IEPs and deciding whether students should be on alternate assessment standards. And so there's a resource here, it's an FAQ document that provides guidance about using the ACAP alternate versus decision-making tool. And this needs to be utilized annually for all students who are being considered for the alternate assessment. If there's any questions about the alternate assessment or the decision-making tool, you can contact Elizabeth Newell. And finally, I want to talk about a PLU opportunity for administrators for special education. And this is based on the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights and Office of Special Programs. They provided guidance back in the summer of 2020 or 2022 to talk about discipline and the disproportionate representation of students with disabilities that are being removed from school and these disciplinary practices. And so we've developed a PLU. We've had about 400 participants so far. It's an asynchronous PLU offered in Schoology. It's offered across a 9-week period. It doesn't take your full attention for the 9 weeks, but you have 9 weeks to complete it. And it's offered quarterly. It takes about 20 hours, and it's going to be available across the next 3 years. And that's my last slide. And I'm not sure if there's any questions.
We did have a question in the chat about when the 2024 updated Mastering the Maze will be posted on the State Department's website.
Any minute now. It's the best I can tell you. But it is ready and it should be posted any minute now.
I believe that's all I see in the chat.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Oh, I'm getting up here. Stacy, come on.
Because you're gonna help me with this.
They are all enjoying my stand-up desk. Let me just tell you. They're like, wait, do you think
We'll set up.
I think so, yes. You come on over. Help yourself.
Good morning, everyone. Let's see where my mouse is for this. There we go. Just as a reminder, I first want to let everyone know that remember that the data calendar is out there. We all have new personnel this year, whether it's a new counselor, a new principal, new federal programs director. The last thing that we want is anybody to be blindsided with that email from the state going, hey, did you know you were supposed to turn in this report 2 weeks ago? We've all been there, done that, and that's a horrible way to get indoctrinated into a new role. So we created the Student Information System data calendar so that each month you could kind of lay eyes on what are the big items that you need to be doing within the district or within the school, what kind of upcoming reporting might be due. And in each one of those to-dos that's in the checklist, there's blue and red hyperlinks that will either take you to the breadcrumbs of the page inside of PowerSchool or take you to a YouTube video that will show you. So for example, here in January where it says, make sure you have the civics exam scores and the FAFSA information and the graduation exit type for your mid-year graduates. It'll take you to a document where you can see how to step-by-step do that. We do a lot of hand-holding with this. So you'll get a step guide or a video that will allow you to be self-sufficient in your role and not always have to ask for help. And I know that can be very intimidating when you're in a new position. So this right here hopefully can ease some of that burden. One of the things you want to make sure that you pay attention to is coming up in May, because there's all those new additions for the Literacy Act and the Numeracy Act. You know, last year that Literacy Act page in PowerSchool was added at the end of the school year, and so everybody wasn't able to get all of that in there before the end, and so we allowed for that input during the summer. Well, this year you want to make sure your teachers or whoever you've designated within the districts are entering that information on who has been screened for dyslexia, who has who is being invited to summer reading camp, everything inside that Literacy Act page. Also note that the Lexi's Law, the handwriting proficiency for grade 3 is on there. So if you are having the teachers assist with that data input because it is available over in the teacher portal, you want to make sure that you have your game plan put together of when they have that uploaded. And the great thing is, because you now have access to Unified Insights, you will start seeing your data populate over there in your percentages. That's that reporting information that Bonnie was talking about, where you're not going to have to submit those spreadsheets, that as you're entering it day by day, your numbers will start increasing over in that Literacy Act portal. Speaking of Unified Insights, last week we wrapped up the last of the training in South Alabama for phase 2, which was of the student plan. So everyone now, yes, they are live. They are ready for you to work on. You can start attaching strips, and you can start attaching the Literacy Act portfolios to your students. I'm getting calls and emails daily with just little questions here and there for us to get used to this. And so far, it's been going pretty smooth. We will have additional training opportunities for student plans this summer. They will be heavily covered at AETC and at Megan. We'll talk some more about that in a few slides. Next up is going to be what I'm going to call the meat of this. So the student plan is really that electronic version of the plan. Is kind of your game plan of going out there, but the intervention is the meat of what we're doing with the students. So we are currently in the process of building out all of the interventions that will be available for you to use, and they are very detailed down into your ELA standards, your math standards, your foundational wellness, things that you might be working with on students. That training is slated to be in April. So be on the lookout for a new email from me. We are right now working with the regional in-service centers to secure our locations. So as we get all of them secured, we're going to do exactly what we did last time with the student plans. You will have 4 seats that you will be able to send users to for your district that you will send to the training. They will learn how to build how to work with these interventions, and they will bring that back to the districts and then do the turnaround training. As I was saying, the interventions are the meat of the work you're going to do with the students, because this is where you will see your progress monitoring, your attendance. So all of that we have to report on, especially with the summer reading summer reading camp and summer math camps. Those are going to be tracked through these interventions so that you'll be able to see on a dashboard how many students have been enrolled into that intervention, how many are completed that intervention. So you can start seeing if your interventions are actually working and the kids are moving from one intervention to another, from a tier 2, did they go to tier 3, things such as that. So all of that should be coming out very soon to you, but go ahead and start thinking about your April and who you want to send those 4 users to a 2-hour training scope the same way that we did with the student plans. Also, you should be seeing a new slate of dashboards inside of your Unified Essentials package. When you fly out your dashboards module, when we were doing the training, you kind of were shown a lot of the academic, the behavior, the attendance, and so forth, and the assessment data. Well, now you're going to see Literacy Act modules, and these are those that are pulling the data from that Literacy Act page over in SIS that the admins and teachers have access to start disseminating that data for you. Right now, everything is pulled in tables. There's a couple of pages we've started to pop the graphs up there for you as well. So everything that you see table formatted will get thrown into pretty graphs like the other pages, but we want to go ahead and get the data in front of you so you could start clicking it and seeing the list of students. I will ask this, kind of beg and please for everyone, please go check your retention and your summer reading camp information, because I was just peeking at it a couple of weeks ago and noticed that there's already 23 kids across the state who've been retained in 3rd grade. Don't think we're quite there yet to do those retentions, so I'm betting somebody meant to put last year's date on that retention and not this year's date, and it's pulling something incorrectly, or a student was promoted and it wasn't shown correctly in the enrollment history. So if you will, please make sure your district lays eyes on those two, because we're seeing data already populating that really shouldn't be there yet for the 23-24 school year. So it does help in a little bit of error checking. And then the thunder to bring back up from what Wayne was talking about, we are going to be present at both Mega and AETC. For Mega, the Power School sessions that are going to be covered is really just focusing completely on Unified Insights. That's going to be the only Power School training you're going to see at Mega. But what we're going to do is we're going to repeat the 3 big trainings that we did across the state in their entirety. So that original 3-hour dashboard training that you had to send 3 people to for your district, the 2-hour training that you had to send 4 people to for student plans, and the 2-hour training that you will be sending 4 people to for interventions, all of those will be repeated in their entirety at Mega and at AETC. So if you're wanting to send more people to get more eyes on this to help really turn this around big time next year, these are going to be your places to do it. And for all of the other Power School training, if you've got a new counselor, a new registrar, and they're just needing to know how to use anything Power School in general, special programs, we are going to have almost 70 Power School sessions at AETC this summer. So if any of y'all have ever sent users to PSU and paid that hefty price tag, this is a steal of a bargain at $140 something. I forget how much it is, to get into that, along with the 4 free that you already have. So if you know that you're getting new users who are going to be heavy Power School users and they're going to need some summer training, please come see us at AETC so we can make this the old school Alabama STI conference that we all remember, that helped to train us up on our knowledge of our SIS. Oh, and that went to, didn't mean to go to the link. Let's click down here. There we go. And then last but not least, just remember that we do have our Power School coaches who have our monthly webinars. We are focusing hot and heavy on scheduling, because every district in the state should be thinking about their game plan for scheduling. I've actually got a lot of districts who've already completed their master schedules for next year, got an early jump on it. So the finishing out the February webinars, and we're looking at the topics for March webinars. You're still going to see a lot of loading and building and master schedule information. We'll have storing grades, because third 9 weeks will be coming up next month. And I'm happy to say you're going to see a new set of new strand of topics in the March webinar, because we now do have a 4th Power School coach. Miss Sherry Winningham has joined the team, and she will be supporting all things special programs. And that has been a much needed thing, because when districts email me questions about special programs, I can absolutely help you with the tech side of it and making sure that people have access to the documents, attaching things, moving envelopes. But when questions come in about what's supposed to be in an IEP and what's supposed to be in those documents, that's where Stacy has no clue, because she is not a special ed person, and will probably tell you something that is completely not even legal. So I don't want to do that. And so we have somebody now who knows the special program side and has been a special ed director, who knows everything about child count, IEPs, EL, gifted, you name it. So they will, Sherry's going to be a huge asset, and we'll start offering monthly sessions, and we'll also be able to have you request on-site support if you need so for your district. Let me check over here in the chat.
We've got several questions, Stacy.
Yeah, I'm going to go and read
Bonnie for some of these. I don't know if she's still.
The first one, I think Bonnie's going to be yours. This one right here.
I'm right here with her. I hang out with people who make me better, and so that's why I'm right by her. Where are we?
I think you're on.
We have a question from Renee McManus in Mobile County. Question 1 is for the LAPS or LAPS. Will we link the actual assessments to show 70% or above, or can we link scoring sheets for each standard?
Think that I would probably want to have that specific information in there, but that can be an LEA decision on how you're doing things. As you are linking that information, though, I really want y'all to think about, how can I do this with the least amount of work on our end? So if I have a folder and it's on Stacy Royster, and I have all of her standards in that folder, I'm going to do a share link to that folder, and I'm probably going to put it in every one of those 9 spots, all 9 of those standards, the same exact link. If that's easier for you, do it that way. If you have different directions for your individual teachers and principals, by all means, but that is more than adequate for us. Also, if you have a copier and you have all of those documents and you run all of their documents through the scanner and you want to connect it with one link, that is totally appropriate. Just make sure you can identify what standard it is measuring and who that piece of paper goes with. You want to make sure that you're connecting that piece of paper to the student.
Okay, question 2 is, since the SRAP or the SRIP is in place until the student's deficit has been closed,
Love that.
will Unified Insights allow the SRIP to follow the student from year to year, grade to grade?
Yes, that it will stay on there until you end date that plan. And the great thing about it, not only will it follow it within your district, but one of the things that's pretty powerful with this is, let's say that this student that you have the SRIP on moves to another district. That SRIP moves with them so that the new district does not have to start all over. They can see the gains that have been made already with the forwarding district, and we've never had anything like that before. So leaps and bounds gonna make a difference for us.
Great. Christy York asked, should we be unchecking Literacy Act data for students when they exit their dyslexia-specific intervention, or leave it marked even though they've exited?
My inclination is that you need to keep it marked. You want to be able to identify that this student received that specific information, that you've worked to rectify that. Your SRIP should indicate, or interventions in the future should indicate, that that student has closed that gap of deficiencies. You also want, as they move up to the next grades, let's say they move from your school, you want that school to be able to identify that that student has had that support in the past, or has been identified with those characteristics in the past. So yes, keep that box checked.
And Christy, I'll say this, you're going to see, as we get into the intervention model, you're going to see more of the flexibility of doing the end dates to show who's really in those interventions or not throughout the interventions module, instead of just the checkbox that we have denoting that we've started something with the students on the Literacy Act page.
Awesome. Sharon asked, during the training, we were told that the RTI templates would be created by the state and pushed out. Do we know when this will happen?
Yes, so I'm working with Christy Shankles, and there will be what we call a generic student plan that you'll be able to use in those kind of RTI situations. But I will also say you're going to see that more of what you're thinking of being a plan is actually going to be an intervention over in the side for MTSS. And so I think once you see that, it'll make more sense in April. There's going to be a little bit of a mind swap in the state in what we've always called a plan for a student. Our interventions are going to be these plans. So you see 2 naming conventions in here that are going to be the very same thing that we've been doing generically anyway.
And also remember that if you have a K-3 student who has a reading deficiency and you've created an SRIP, that is their RTI plan. You do not have to do a separate plan for that.
Awesome. Kelly asked, should Lexi's law data be showing in Unified Insights for 22-23?
If you had populated the check boxes for third grade students last year, then that should be showing in there. So if you know that you did check that box, which I don't think you did, because last year it wasn't in there. I just remember it just got in at the beginning of this year. So you should only be seeing this year's data moving forward inside of there. And hey, Mark, there was a private one that came this way. Erica asked, would it be possible to have Renaissance and iReady talk to Power School more than 3 times a year so scores don't have to be loaded manually? So with the state implementation, they're only loading what we're going to call the state instances, which are going to be the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of year, because that's what's in the contract for the state. So right now, that's all we can do. I am trying to have talks with Unified Insights to see that if a district wants to have more in there, would they allow that capability through a separate MOU? Of course, it would be something that would be at a cost to the district. It wouldn't be something that would be covered under the contract we currently have, to see if that's an option. But I don't know the answer to that yet. So right now, it's just going to be the 3 that are part of the state beginning of year, middle of year, and end of year. And I'm hoping that the vendors get the middle of the year data to us very soon. We usually get it around mid-February, so we can flip that over into Unified Insights immediately.
Your window is just now at the point where it closes, and the vendors have 2 weeks to get it to us. Asked about that today because I want that data in there too, so that it's usable data for you.
And you should be seeing beginning of year data for this year in there already. It's just we're waiting on the middle of the year to go ahead and pop that in there.
The only other question I see on my side is we had a request from our RIC director to say, would it be possible for the regional team in Region 5 to receive Unified Insights training?
Yes, there will be state approved training for all regionals within the State Department once it is decided who gets access and who's not. So we'll have an offline conversation to my other state employees on here.
Perfect. And then we had one just come in. Is Lexi's Law supposed to be reported for individual third grade students in Unified Insights?
So it's actually over in the SIS where the checkbox is, and that data will feed over into Unified Insights. But yes, that should be populated on the individual students. So if you have already assessed that handwriting standard and you know which students have shown proficiency, it's okay for you to go ahead and have your teachers or whoever it is assigned for the district to mark that checkbox for those students.
The great part about this is you're not going to have to collect that data from your principals, put them together in your system data, and forward that on to the state. The teachers will just be collecting that data on their individual third grade students as to they're proficient or they're not proficient. They're checking a box and it's done. All of that reporting is complete. And that handwriting data will also filter to allow you to look at the bigger picture of a student when you're looking at PST. So if you see that there's a handwriting issue in third grade, that is pointing to another piece of concern for that particular student.
Great. I think that's all the questions. We had great questions answered by a great duo. Thank you.
So, could there be instructions for a manual upload for Lexi's Law? Yes, Kim, I can get that to you. And just to tell you, it's going to be super easy because it's a student field value. You can actually, if you have the list of kids, do a multi-select of the kids, student field value, change it to a value of 1 to check the box, and you're done. So that's a very easy one. I can get that out. So I can pop that in the newsletter that goes out. Well, not Monday because Monday's a holiday, so it'll be coming out Tuesday. So look for it in the Power School Updates email that comes out every week. I'll have that in there next week for you. Super easy. Where'd the mouse go? CD?
Okay, I'm going to pass it on to our career check friends. Dr.
Hey,
Hull, I see him
I'm here.
now.
I'm here. I'm coming.
All right, Dr.
Sure.
Hull, I will advance the slides for you. Just tell me when.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share some of the great things we've got going on in Career Tech. I know some of you here in the chat are in systems where you wear multiple hats, and one of those may include also being your Career Tech director. So we appreciate the work that you do. As you may know, and hopefully are acting on already, February is National Career and Technical Education Month. We send out to Career Tech directors and others a communication plan that provides everything from templates for proclamations, media releases, other ideas and resources that can help local systems promote Career Tech and the great things that are going on in your individual systems. I tell directors all the time and have told new superintendents in the sessions that I've been with them, the most important step in changing the perspective of the people in your individual systems regarding Career Tech education is we have to start acting like it's important and that it matters and that we recognize those students and those teachers the same way that we would recognize any student or any teacher that accomplishes something. So things that are in this communication plan can help you put the spotlight on Career Tech and show off what you've got going on in your system. Next slide. Plans of instruction are going to be worked on through the summer. You can see the clusters here that we are going to be working on. This is in alignment with the course of study that we've been rewriting. We actually finished up, I believe, or we're working on the last set, I think, currently, and may have just approved those actually. And so these are plans of instruction work that will go on through the summer. Mickey Crenshaw in my office is leading that work. Can we go to the next slide? There is some more information. Oh, go back one. I thought there was more information on this. Well, that's the one I needed to see. So you'll see the timeline there. You'll see that we will bring in both CTE subject matter
Pulling it up. You just talk through it, Dr. Hull. I'll catch you up.
bringing in CTE subject matter experts and academic subject matter experts that align with those particular CTE fields. A project that has been going on since before I got here, and Sean Stevens has really helped help us keep it going, is creating the list of credit eligible courses where CTE courses can count for academic credit, and particularly in science and math. There are a lot of courses in health science, engineering, agri-science, where the strength of those courses and the standards in those courses align very well with certain science or math courses that students are taking. So we've created a situation where students can stay in those CTE programs easier and not have to leave a program to take a required science course, because they can get the credit for the science in the career tech class that they're in. So you'll see, go back one more, that one that was hidden, one more, last one. All right, monetary supplements will be provided for completed, reviewed, and approved plans of instruction. So Mickey Crenshaw is a contact for this work. If you know someone that is interested, or if you're interested in participating in some of this work, she is the person to contact, but we will be starting that work very soon. Okay, next. All right, this is our career readiness indicators. One kind of side note I want to make sure everybody is understanding. One of the things we're beginning to hear is we're getting some confusion in the field on career readiness indicator, which is a CTE credential, and college and career readiness indicators, which are required for graduation. The CRI is simply a credential, a third-party industry-recognized credential that a student is earning in a career tech program. Your college and career readiness indicators, and there are, I think, 10 of those at this point, that Sean went through earlier with you. You need to try to eliminate that confusion as much as possible. I may have just confused you just now talking about it, but you're going to hear me use the word credential more so than you're going to hear me use the abbreviation CRI. So if you use the QR code there, we'll take you to, if you don't have the full list of our credentials that are offered across programs in the state, you can access it there on that QR code. I can tell you that our most recent impact report that will be released very soon, we had right at 33,000 individual third-party credentials earned in the state of Alabama just last year. In one school year, over 33,000. And so when you factor in those numbers to the governor's plan, Success Plus plan, that is mandating 500,000 newly credentialed workers across the state by 2025, and we're putting out 30,000 a year, that is significant. So we are certainly happy with that success. It is a college and career readiness indicator that students in the 10th grade and below will have to graduate. They don't have to just, it doesn't have to be a credential. They have to earn one of those. But that list is very robust. We work closely with all career tech directors and individual teachers to make sure that we're offering and pursuing the correct credentials for the programs. But that's something that we've been very successful with, over 33,000 just last year. All right, next. We are hitting what we call CTSO season in my office. Career Tech Student Organizations, you can see them listed there. The schedule is available on that QR code. Up first, I believe we just had our JAG district conferences, and we've got Skills USA district conferences going on, HOSA state qualifying going on. The first full state conference for CTSOs will be DECA in Birmingham, February 21st and 22nd. So if you have a DECA program in your school, you may be seeing and hearing about requests to get students released to go participate in those. These are amazing events. They are great for our kids, provides them with a lot of leadership training, a lot of networking, a lot of powerful motivational, inspirational speakers. And they also get to compete in a variety of contests, everything from public speaking, depends on the club, but a lot of it involves presenting, public speaking, and things along those lines, depending on which program is associated. For example, in our Skills USA programs, we have a tech ed area that is full of a lot of construction related programs. So students would be competing in tasks related to, say, electrical work or plumbing work or welding work. So very fascinating conferences. If you ever have a chance to attend one, you'll be blown away at the talent of the students that we have here in the state. Is there anything else, or does that wrap it up? Oh, we're always in the need for judges. So if you are a former CTSO member or just someone who would like to support your CTSOs in your school systems, and you see a conference that's going to be near you and you would like to participate as a judge and help provide valuable feedback to the students that are participating in the various contests for each CTSO, these QR codes will take you to those. These are the ones that are the nearest that are coming up the soonest. DECA in Birmingham, HOSA in Montgomery, and FCCLA also in Montgomery. HOSA is Health Occupations Student Association, so it is all centered around medical field, nursing, that sort of thing. FCCLA is associated with family consumer science, hospitality tourism, culinary, human services, all those things that entails. So that's another great area also. All right, next. Computer Science Summit, April 15th, 2024. The QR code there for you to get registered. That will be in Montgomery. As you know, the Computer Science Initiative is growing quickly. The governor doubled the budget in FY24. This fiscal year we're in now, from $3 million to $6 million. This has grown from a 9 through 12 initiative to a K through 12 initiative. And expectations, participation, and training are ramping up to really become a national leader. We work closely with code.org, and we are proud of the work that we do in computer science. As of the last information that we saw, we're actually the national leader as it relates to girls in computer science. So that's something to be very proud of, that we do a good job with. So as you know, the certification associated with this and the training that goes along with this is significant. So if you are interested in hearing more or coming to this conference, there's the information there and the QR code for you to be able to do that. I'm almost positive that is it for me. I don't know if there's any questions. William, did you have those?
Dr. Hull, the only thing I've seen, I'm trying to put it in there as well, the link to the, I'll go back a couple slides. The QR code may work, but the hyperlink seems to be a little wonky. So I told him we'll go in and fix that. I tried to pull it up as well.
Okay.
Did you have other questions?
Access.
Maybe. Yeah.
We'll see if we can get that fixed.
Any other questions? Thank you, Dr. Holt.
Well, remember, it's CTE month, so y'all put stuff out on social media. And get your kids and your teachers in front of your local boards and brag on what they're doing and the good things they've got going on. So we appreciate everything that you do. If I can ever be of any help, I'm pinch hitting today for Mickey Crenshaw, who normally does this. So I probably skipped a couple of things and missed a couple of things that she's been saying. But if I can be of any help, don't hesitate to reach out to me and we'll get you taken care of. Thank you.
Great. Come back anytime, Dr. Hull. We're going to transition to Dr. Anderson. It says Anna Shepherd-Jones, but she is at the same conference. So we kind of swapped up the slides a little bit because we do have some folks doing double duty. So Dr. Anderson, I know, just spoke to a big group, and we were able to adjust it so she could join us today. So Dr. Anderson, I'm going to give it to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shields. I really appreciate your flexibility. Being here at the symposium has been awesome. And look, I'm glad to be known as Dr. Anna Shepherd-Jones. So the very first slide, I just want you to please welcome the regional coordinators that you see listed there. We are rocking and rolling in the Office of Mathematics Improvement, and we have needed to increase our family. So please welcome these coordinators to those who are already present in our regions. They have been involved in our Everyone Counts sessions, our partnership with our MTSS coaches. It has just been dynamic. So thank you in advance for supporting them. You've heard already from Stacy Royster about Power School updates. The numeracy tab, we are just so grateful to her and the whole team for working with us with regard to the expectations in the Numeracy Act. The screenshot there is of a list of the 10 individual reports that are going to be expected to be uploaded and sent to the state. And thanks to Power School, we are making this as easy as pie. As long as the information is included in the tab, with the submission of the report will be super easy. This will include summer math camp data. That is some information from last summer that I shared here with principals. We have seen some great growth from use from pre and post assessments over the course of summer learning. It's just been really powerful to observe. But I must say that I believe the numbers would have been higher if we did not have to remove information from those students who did not have both a pre and a post assessment. So please be sure that information is loaded. The pre-assessment will simply be the same as the post-assessment that is given at the end of the year using that formative benchmark assessment. So please be sure to also load the post-assessment so that we can celebrate with you and see the wonderful growth at the end of the summer camp. There's a forthcoming memo that will announce the launch of these Power School updates. So just stay tuned for that. The Elementary Mathematics Task Force has been super busy. You will see later this month a memo listing the high quality curriculum that will be recommended. We are in the process of pushing out an RFI so that we can recommend an early numeracy screener, the formative benchmark assessment, as well as intervention resources, as the law provides for an annual review of those resources. June 1 is our deadline for having those recommendations done. We do expect to have to meet that expectation so that districts can make good decisions when it comes time to purchase these resources. This has been the year of grace, but there is an expectation that districts will pivot to those screeners, assessment, and intervention resources that have been recommended by the task force. The fractional reasoning screener has been difficult. That's been difficult for us to meet in terms of an expectation because it does not exist. The task force has pushed out an RFP as well as an RFI and has just not received anything. So the task force is in the process of pushing out an RFP to work with a vendor or to find a vendor that will work with us to co-create this fractional reasoning screener. So stay tuned for that. In terms of assigning math coaches, there are 844 schools across the state of Alabama that teach students in the grades of K through 5. We have all of those students in all of those schools rather in a spreadsheet. And so every single school is going to have their turn to be assigned an allocation for a math coach. Currently in this fiscal year, 200 are funded. Approximately a little bit more than that, 216 projected to be funded in the next fiscal year. And please see your regional coordinator for resources. Those resources include interview questions as well as rubrics so that when your school and district is ready to interview and hire your building-based math coach, you will be prepared. The idea is to annually identify or publicize the list of those who will receive math coaches in January between now and the spring of 2027 to allow districts to interview and hire and get everybody board approved before training occurs this summer. Ideally, it's planned for July. In order to support the those building-based math coaches and build capacity in each school, because we are not sure where these 844 coaches are coming from. We are partnering with ALSDE. ALSDE has created a teacher leader academy designed to build capacity in each school, whether the individual is interested in serving as a building-based mathematics coach, or the individual is just interested in gaining additional knowledge to be a more effective grade level chair or just a grade level leader in terms of math in the building. Now, certainly participation in the Teacher Leader Academy does not guarantee a position as a building-based math coach, but it would certainly be great training for anyone who is interested. Super proud of the Office of Mathematics Improvement team for creating curricula last year to go along with the expectation that students in grades 4 and 5 be provided with instruction in problem solving. The Fun Zone curriculum was created, and you see this cover here, and there's a link to those resources. The idea is to have a portfolio of resources available for schools to use and to choose from, not just during the summer months, but we have also heard that schools are using these resources during the school year as well. So the resources, the curricula will all have a different theme. Last year it was Fun Zone. This year it is Math as is an Art. There has been a wonderful collaboration with Andy Meadows and other state arts directors to create authentic tasks for students to perform in the course of implementing this curriculum. More than 800 teachers were trained in the use of Fun Zone last year, and the OMI team is poised and ready to provide training on Math as an Art. Math is an Art this spring as well. So please click on those links for those resources. You've already heard about the summer guidance. It's been a wonderful collaborative venture between many sections here at the State Department. Also, sample schedules are included, as well as research on summer learning. And that's all I have. Here is a QR code with my contact information. Thank you for your attention, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Karen. All right, we're watching the chat. Just a reminder about our spring CI meeting. We have really enjoyed being all over the state. We will have hit every region by the end of the year. So in April, we will be in Madison area, which is kind of cool because this weekend I actually moved. I am a resident now of Region 3. So I'll actually be close. April 3 will be in Alabaster, serving regions 5 and 7. April 9 will be in region 11 with Troy, and then we will do virtual again. Now, just remember, because we're watching the YouTube channel too, I mean, you can register because that lets us get your comments and be engaged, but we are also streaming this live on YouTube. So I'll always know that you can just send someone to our YouTube channel and they can watch it live that way. I will tell you, it's a good thing we're teachers because every conceivable technology issue you could possibly have today happened. And we did what teachers do and figured out how to make it work on multiple devices and Wi-Fi's. So shout out to my team for being so nimble because we wanted it to be flawless for you. Here I think we've already put the slides in the chat. The link for the summer guide 2024, Dr. Anderson, I think that is actually, maybe we can throw that in the chat. There were a lot of resources discussed. All of that has been put into a Google folder for you, so you have access to that. I also love it when we finish a little early. What we normally do during the face-to-face sessions, and it's interesting because I think a couple of you actually came to the face-to-face sessions and just like, you know what, I wanted to come back. But in our face-to-face sessions, what we do at the conclusion of the CI meeting, we all just take a table. Bonnie sits at a table, Stacy sits at a table, and we just say, come ask us questions. You got us here. We've come to your part of the state. So we want to be a thought partner. We certainly want to fellowship with you, but we want to make sure your questions are answered. Because this is a virtual setting, we can't do it quite the same way. But we're going to stay online, my team, and we're going to watch the chat to make sure you have any other questions. We'll certainly respond to those. Outside of that, we hope that you have a wonderful rest of the week. I hope you found this information helpful. Do remember we've hidden some slides. So for instance, the Principal Mentoring Act, there was just a lot of information, but I wanted to make sure you had everything that we do. And then we will post all of this, of course, on our website. You are